At some point in my childhood, I realized that there was something very wrong and off about my dad. That his morals and just how he went about things, his mindset was just very off. And it's like there could be a time where I can recall that this is where I figured out that my dad was a narcissist before I even knew what a narcissist was. I just knew something was off about him. It was when we were in the car. I was in middle school, like 13 years old. And he says out his mouth, verbatim, I feel like because I pay the bills, I shouldn't have to do a thing in that house. My exact face. And then he goes, I beg your pardon? Excuse me? You smelling your stinky self and you need to just check that attitude of yours. Nah, dude, it's just you're a misogynistic bigot and I see right through you. And this is not something that you should be saying to your 13-year-old daughter, dude. This is very true because black people are the ones that are living the deepest, most severe depth of the generational curse. It has been passed down generations and it's infiltrated through the bloodline. You have so many people, so many parents that are unknowingly repeating patterns that are toxic and abusive because they're not even aware that they are abusive because that is all they have known. We were the ones, us black people were the ones that they cursed us spiritually. They took us so far away from our faith. So now we used to be very spiritual. You know, a lot of black people, if we were of religion, a lot of black people were Muslim. Okay, a lot of this whole Christian stuff, a lot of us black people weren't Christian. The white man gave us Christianity. That wasn't what we wanted. A lot of us were very spiritual. And if we were religious,
Oh, this is a 10-minute video.
Oh, I thought that was, sorry. But if we were religious, then it was Islam. You know what I'm saying? So the thing is, they completely removed us from our roots, from our truth, from where we used to be. During the slavery times, they demasculated the men and they put us through so much trauma. They had to, they traumatized the women so much where they had to step into their masculine energy. And the thing is, it's swapped. It's like you have women more in their masculine energy and then you got the men more in their feminine energy. And it was just a curse that just perpetuated for centuries, for generations. However, it was up to us. It was up to us to seek and find out the truth. It was up to us to become conscious, to become aware. We do have to hold ourselves accountable because if we as young people could seek and search and find the truth and talk about certain things and awaken and go further in depth on just the way life is and just understanding why things are the way that they are, if they would have really put forth more energy into healing themselves and to dealing with their traumas and really trying to become a better person, we wouldn't have all these issues. But let me tell you, I have parents, both of my parents are baby boomers. And let me tell you, they talked about when they were in college. And when they were in college, this was like the 70s. And, my other parent was in there like the early 80s. But anyway, mid to late 70s, early 80s is when my parents were in college. And they talked about how they would have moments where everybody just sitting around drinking, smoking weed or whatever, and you have people talking about that real philosophy stuff, like the real spiritual stuff. They talk about the conspiracy theories. They're talking about, the conversations that we have, talking about how, everything that we've been taught in religion in schools is a lie, and how the curse of Willie Lynch, talking about the real history of black people and talking about we are the original people. We had, people were talking about that. My parents even confirmed it, that the stuff that me and my sister and my brother, but our siblings, what we talk about, we be talking about that with each other, and we bring that up to our parents. And our parents have even told us oh, you know what? People was talking about that stuff back when I was in college, but I really just didn't get much into it. I didn't really go much into those conversations. I kind of would just leave the room and just walk on over and not really pay much attention. So that's the problem. It's not like nobody was talking about it, because people were talking about it. People were being waking up and opening up their third eye and seeking and finding out the truth. You have some people that were interested in learning the truth, and then you have some people that were running away from the truth because it was too uncomfortable for them to fathom. So the thing is, a lot of us, a lot of them, they had the resources right there, but it was like you could take the horse to the water, but you can't make them drink it. And a lot of them horses didn't drink the water. A lot of our parents did not drink the water. They had the opportunity to grow and evolve and expand and open their third eye and heal and become a better person, but they refused. They chose comfortability. They chose short-term comfort instead of long-term fulfillment. They focused more on what was going to satisfy the ego instead of satisfying the flesh, instead of what was going to fulfill the soul, what was going to bring the soul peace. So it was just very far and few of people that actually wanted to wake up versus the ones that didn't want to wake up. Shoot. So yeah. And so we definitely can say, like, our resources and externally, we've been cursed. They've cursed us within our bloodline, and we have so much pain and trauma that we don't even know where it's coming from half the time. Well, some of the time, we don't even know where the pain and trauma is coming from because it's trauma from other generations that's living within our bloodline. And when we naturally have, when that trauma is embedded in you, it's embedded in your DNA, and we react and respond a certain way, that's what happens. That's how trauma gets repeated. So sometimes, in some cases, it's us just having a natural response from the trauma that we all were born with. So yes, we can give ourselves grace. We can give ourselves the benefit of the doubt because there were times we made mistakes that was unintentional. It was not with ill intent. It was not with malice intent in some cases. However, in a lot of other cases, a lot of these parents just continued that pattern. They didn't think, or they did not ponder on if what they were doing was wrong. They didn't think about if what they were doing, if it was wrong or not. They just continued to do it. They would watch their children be in distress and just thought, well, that's just a part of parenting. They're going to just be in distress without thinking of having to soothe and nurture and calm their children. You know, a lot of these parents, a lot of these Black parents, they just felt that if they were a parent and they had an offspring, that they were in charge, they were in control, and they had power over this other human being, and they could be in a more of a dictator role, more of an authoritarian role, than it would to be in a more authoritative, more gentle, more fair, more leader type. Because listen, when they were in that dictator energy, it was more about the control that they felt that they had. Because a lot of these Black parents, they grew up in a lot of these times where they didn't have much control over their own life. It was either their parents controlling them, or just the government and just everybody else around them externally controlling them. They didn't feel like they had much control in school or at their jobs, at work, in their neighborhoods, with their tenants and their landlords, whatever. They didn't feel like they had much control in their lives. So that when they had children, all of that control that they lacked, they now took that upon themselves to start controlling their children. And as they're controlling their children and having power over them, they are spending, oh, come on, spirit. They're spending more time controlling their children than loving their children. There's a difference between you wanting to guide your children and protect them from hurt or harm versus actually controlling them. There's a difference between disciplining your children and getting them on the routine and telling them what they need to do because there's things we have to do for this routine versus actually controlling your child. And a lot of these Black parents, they want to control every single aspect of their child's life. Every single aspect of their life. They don't want to allow the child to have autonomy and to be independent. They want to have full-fledged control over their child because when they were a child, their parents had full-fledged control over them. So they wanted to repeat what was done to them because they have not resolved what was done to them. And when you have these people, when they think that like, oh, I'm grown, I don't have to say this to you, I don't have to do that to you, I don't have to do this because I'm grown, what you have is you have emotionally immature, emotionally stunted people they're like emotionally stunted as like a teenager living in an adult body at the adult age. And when they're mentally not an adult, mentally they're not a man, mentally they're not a woman, mentally they are still a child, they are still a teenager, they are still a girl, they are still a boy, but they have the adult age, they have the adult body, they have the adult strength. they will basically use that to their advantage and feel like I don't have to give people any decency anymore. I don't have to give people any empathy because I'm an adult. I can do what I want. But you as an adult, yes, you can do what you want. Yes, you have your free will, but not at the expense of other people. And sure as hell, not at the expense of your own children. You done made these children. You done carried these children, went through all of the case of pregnancy and pushed that baby out. And that's how you treat your child? This is your child for life, for the rest of your life. The protector, the provider. You put your seed in the mother, and that's how this child is here. And this is how you treat your children. It's because if they did not focus on themselves, on becoming better people, they're not going to be better people for their children. They're going to just be who they are. And they feel like their children have to put up with it. And that's the problem. They did not become the better version of themselves. I'm running out of time. They did not become a greater version of themselves. They just stayed stagnant, stayed bad people, and it infiltrated into their marriage, into their parenting.